My guest today on Industry Conversation is Akonte Ekine, the Chief Executive Officer, Brand Exchange. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
First, we'd like to congratulate you and your team on the continuing and increasing success of the Consumer Value Awards, and most especially the latest edition Odinson.
Thanks. It's the consumers, actually. It's not me. The success goes to the consumers. We are just anchoring the process for the consumers.
How would you describe the experience organizing this award for the past 4 years?
Okay, so I think we should start by saying it's a mixed bag. There's a good side, there's the bad side, and there is the ugly side. And everything is probably on the strength of our environment. So we will naturally say that at one point we are struggling, at one point we are stabilizing, and I think at another point we are flying.
How would you describe the trajectory, the growth trajectory of organizing this award?
We have to put that growth trajectory into perspective. The first is that from nowhere, something came out of the blue. So we have to give back to this idea of consumers need to speak, consumers need to be heard, which is basically around the Consumer Protection Act, of the federal government, and then the Consumer International rights that every consumer on the average should have the opportunity to speak and be heard, and to have redress and also contribute to product development amongst many other rights of the consumers. So we started out of nothing, and it was an issue to get people to even believe that something like that can happen, where consumers will come and vote to be able to give credibility or validate the products or services of various companies.
Okay, so you've done this for 3 years. This year is the 4th year.
Yeah.
So what has been your major takeaway for the past 3 years from the award?
I think there is a gap in the marketplace. If you look at the news, local, international, brand owners are speaking to the consumers, always encouraging them to come and patronize them. What feedback at best do they have? Purchase? There should be other form of feedbacks to the manufacturers and service provider. So one of the things we've seen is that there's a big gap for us in our climb for consumers to be able to get back to the manufacturers and service providers. And it's a huge opportunity in that space for us to be able to reach out to say, look, what service you are providing is not good enough, or it can be better than what we are seeing, and all those things.
I'm sure there was a vision that birthed the Consumer Value Awards. Now, how well has this vision been accomplished for the past 3 years?
Okay, so we are still at the teaching stage of the vision, so to speak, because globally you will hear things like Augustus rating banks for their service to some extent, or for their financial status. You will hear the IMF, the financial institutions have been rated on this. So what we are trying to do with our vision is to create a situation where even as simple as Gary that you buy gets validated by consumers' votes through going to the website and making your own comments on it and responding to the general service that you have experienced in the marketplace. So our hope is that, based on the vision, that after 3 years, we will see growth. And one of the things we use to measure our growth is the fact that we started out with brands that were initially nominated were probably, mostly some of them are international brands, reputable by public perception. But now we've got some local brand coming into the foray, and then now we've even got into a stage where we say, oh, look at government services, government agencies. And so we've moved into that level where government agencies are also thrown into the segments for recognition as per voting by the general public.
You've talked about voting, casting your votes, going on the website to drop opinions and votes. How would you describe the feedback from people, the response rate?
Okay. In the last 2 editions, we recorded over 10,000 votes on the website. This particular period, in the last 1 month, feedback shows that we've gotten over 7,000 respondents on the website, either VCs and votes. So, and we've seen the activities going on there. So that for us is a plus that we are making progress.
What should people expect at this year's edition of the awards?
It's all about the consumers. So it's basically come and let us talk about how we can do better, how we can improve the marketplace, how we can go beyond just saying, oh, this product. One of the easiest things for us as consumers is to go back to our sitting room and say, I bought a product, is bad, and leave it at that. And most times what we do, even to the public, is that product is bad. Nobody comes back to say that product is good. So when we gather together on the 26th of November, what we hope to achieve is that beyond saying that product is bad, let us say these are good products. This product deserves to be commended. Put them on the edge to do better. So we want to celebrate, not criticize or kill brands. We want to uplift brand. We want to open. One of the things we are actually doing for brands is that we are doing them a major favor. You didn't pay us any money. You didn't give us any sponsorship. You didn't give us any facility. But on our own, we are investing our time and resources to ensure that your brand is known. So for every brand that is listed now on the Consumer Value Award platform, is enjoying free publicity. So we're actually helping brands to build awareness. That's one thing we do.
So what should consumers expect at this year's edition, 26th of November? What should they expect to see?
Okay, so it's an exciting moment. One of the biggest surprises is that you will see government agencies in attendance, because primarily, for the first time, we are bringing government agencies into this situation. And we are not the ones that even did it. It's just consumers during nomination stage that nominated some government agencies. And I think the exciting thing is that from what we have seen so far, and it's open to the public, you will see the government agencies that are enjoying the votes. You will see the government agencies that are not even getting the votes. And you will expect that one or two people in government circle will look at it and say, if some percentage of Nigerians are talking about this, then there is something inside it for us. So the excitement for us is that we'll be shouting out good to the good government agencies, and then we'll be telling the ones that are not doing well to say, look, we have to move on. The society has changed. We are evolving, and we are evolving for good. So we are not, I don't want to sound political, but we are not interested in the political conversation, but we are interested in the efficiency of the economy for the good of us. Because I believe, which is the reason for the vision, is that we can be better than where we are. And one of the reasons and ways we can be better than where we are is for every one of us to play that little role. And what's that little role? Just go there and vote and say, oh, this FCCPC, for instance, or National Orientation Agency, for instance, or Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, for instance, or Bureau of Public Complaint Commission or something, that, oh, they are doing well or they are not doing well. So if a government agency invests in research, for instance, that research is likely to have some degree of bias. But if it's an independent initiative, I'm not getting anything from the government for now, and I'm not out in any political party, and every member of my team is not doing anything outside. Look, just vote. Just the same way we came into the studio and we're asking you, have you done your own? It's your almost your civic responsibility to say that you are enjoying good service from the government. It is almost your civic responsibility. And if you do that, you're actually helping the government to realize that, oh, without being biased, you are telling them that you can do better. And I think that all of us want our country to be better.
Let's talk about the award categories, the various categories. For those that have not been on the website, you could just do a list of maybe 2 or 3 categories. But what was the idea behind creating these categories?
Okay, so let me start with the public sector. In the public sector, which is the first time, and I'm excited about the response rate on the public sector. So we have the outstanding government agency in consumer engagement, because every citizen is a consumer. So we are enjoying government services. So we have the most consumer-friendly regulatory agency. And we also have It's an interesting list. We also have the outstanding list of performance. So one of the things we've done in categorization is to look at the atmosphere and say to ourselves, it's all about the experience. So we are holding on to that experience. Prior to now, we did a governorship advocacy program on the platform to see which governor in Nigeria is conscious of consumer protection. And we found out that it's only Lagos State. And the Lagos State governor was recognized twice back to back as that consumer advocate governor of the year back to back. So we have dropped the idea because we don't want to sound political. We have realized that we can't diagnose nothing like there's no consciousness in that state level, so to speak, outside Lagos State, where you have that consumer protection agency and they are doing well. So what we have done is to say, look at the federal agencies. Let's go back to the federal agencies and list them. The aviation sector, the oil and gas sector, the pharmaceutical sector, and see if consumers can put their votes on any of them. I need to also put this to say that it's actually not Mr. Akonte Ekine and his team that put the name of those people, which is the nomination, because we had 1 month of nomination. So we have a long list of nominations of government agencies and private sector brands, and that's how we arrive at this. So,
from your own perspective, what category do you think has been most exciting to brands and consumers, looking at the feedback?
Okay, so on the government public sector, I would say that outstanding regulatory agency in consumer engagement is the most exciting. As I speak with you, we've recorded over 90% of votes in that place. Outside that, then you have the custard category, you have the non-alcoholic beverage category, we have the mobile phone category, and in fact, there is NCC and NAFDAC or something competing at one point or the other in terms of consumer acceptance of which of them is doing well. So it's a mixed bag. But I think so far, after about 30 days of voting, we can say that we're on the right track for consumers to respond. And why are we even doing this? It's because we feel that we can still reach out to a lot more other people to also take that initiative, because most times people ask themselves that question about what's in it for me. What's in it for every one of us is that we are trying to sanitize the market without necessarily coming out to say we are sanitizing the market. We are playing the role of the regulators by taking the initiative to say, look, if you say this brand is not doing well, what have you done? So if you go to the platform where you have the telecoms category, a lot of people are complaining about some brands. But if you go to that platform, you will see that even the brands that they are complaining about are not doing badly in terms of what people are saying. So the message to every manufacturer or service provider will be, take a look at that site. Can you ensure that you take the feedback? Like last year, UAC called us and said, can we take your data? And they said yes. For nothing, they said yes. Because what we are trying to do is to build credibility for the Consumers Value Awards, first and foremost. Because if we have that credibility that we are sincere, which is one of the things that we said to ourselves, and honest, and we hold our head high above water, I think that at the end of the day, an average consumer will come there and check if this brand is worth celebrating.
Looking at the events day, the format for the events, is it still the same? Has the venue been picked? You've mentioned the date, November 26th. Has the venue been picked? What is the time? What are the major details for people?
Okay, so basically it's going to happen at the Radisson Blue Hotel. We started out there 4 years ago, and somehow through the sheer grace of God, we are keeping to that same place. We believe that it has that, we are celebrating excellence. So we believe that that brand also represents excellence to a degree. So we are staying at the Radisson Blue on Isaac John on the 26th, and it's starting by 5 p.m. Hopefully.
Okay,
Nigerians will keep to time, because that alone is also for us to gauge our consciousness of time.
Okay, so I'm going to go a bit tricky here. So looking at the awards, the CVA, is there any competition? Do you see any competition? Other companies that are trying to meet up with the CVA awards in organization? and giving out this same form of awards?
Okay, so I believe that the space is big enough for more people to come in. My mentor, Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulo, when she first spoke with me, while sitting down the first edition, she said, we need more things like this. And I think that she's been carrying a big burden of trying to get consumers to know these things about their rights. So I think that while I will not say that there are any now for now, I think we can get more, and it would be nice to have more because it's a big space. In fact, one of the things we plan to do is that eventually we will even do specific industry reviews on this subject of consumer satisfaction index, which is what we are trying to do at the end of the day. So it would be nice to see more. There are other awards, but what differentiates our awards, and I stand to be corrected, is that fact that it is voted for by consumers. Any brand manager, any business owner can take that to the bank. If you enter any market and say that this product I'm holding had consumers' votes of 1% to lead a market, or just 2% as a second runner-up in a marketplace, that is a guaranteed marketing tool for that company.
I know the CVA has to do with lots of research because you're dealing with consumer and brands. Now, for your team, what new insights were discovered by your team when dealing with these brands and consumers, and you tend to see that, okay, this is where we should concentrate on, these are the things that should be improved on?
Okay, so it's funny enough, this morning, one of the feedback I got is that there are so many fakes in the marketplace. And somebody said, because they are fake of some products, you won't even vote for those products. And I said, is the product good? He said, yes. But from time to time, you get to encounter fake. So we're in a society where one of the feedback is that, how do we manage fake? And counterfeit is an issue not only in the pharmaceutical sector, it's almost in every sector. Even in the service sector, people pretend to offer certain degree of service, and then when you come in contact with, they fall short of it. So what do? We don't have powers. We are not regulators, but we've noted it. And in the course of our sharing data and information, we will just mention it to those regulators that are concerned. We say, oh, these are the things that you need to note. And of course, they have this information about these things to some extent. And I think that they're also trying to address it. So ours is just to continue to mine data and then see how we can deploy the data for better use of regulators and brand owners and manufacturers and service providers, that at the end of the day, our society will get a nudge up.
Are you in partnership with the government or any consumer protection agency?
This partnership has to be specified. But I think they are our natural partners. For instance, from day one, the Advertising Regulatory Commission of Nigeria was at the event. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission was at the event. The Nigerian Communications Commission was at the event. And these events, their presence was just not by anybody, but except the DGs and the EVCs. They are ably represented. They flew in from Abuja. In fact, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority attended, I think, the second or third edition, all the way from Abuja. So the government agencies are showing interest. And we also look at them for opportunities, for support, and understanding. But because we have listed them on the site for voting, even if they support us, they will still fall under the votes of the consumer. So it's not us. It will be nice to have them, and we crave them to be around us, to be with us, to lift up us, to see what we are doing as a value addition to the society. There are other awards. They can win all the other awards, but you can't win the Consumers Value Awards just because you know Mr. A or Mr. B. The only way you can get that, we call it the badge of honor, is when we come out to say, based on certain percents of votes, you are the leader of that segment, and that's it.
You talked about the UAC when we were talking about brands. So you said they requested for data. Now, this award, has it thrown up more messages to other brands? Have they requested? Have they reached out? What are the perspective about the awards?
Okay, so see, we are in a very interesting society. Some pretend to ignore us. And I will tell you that for nothing, particularly some of the telecoms brands. They pretend to ignore us. But I can tell you also that whilst they pretend to ignore us, they still look at us. So I have feedbacks that says, oh, we know that you did this 2 years ago, you did 3 years ago, but we invited you to come and take your awards. And you said no. And we don't have problem with that. Our standing principle is that we will do our part and present to the public. If you are interested in taking it, you can come for it and take it. So they come around, look at the data and do whatever they want to do with it. But because I said we are still at the teething stage, I believe God that this is a project that has a longer lifespan. And we'll get to that stage where they will crawl, beg to access those data.
Have you faced any challenge or challenges with any of these brands saying, no, what are you doing to my brand? This is not right.
Okay, so at the very first edition, InterSwitch, when we wrote them, one of the things we did when we started was that because it's our first time, once you are nominated and we are putting you on the list, we will write you. We spend over 500,000 naira on mailing alone to people, to organizations. InterSwitch wrote us and said, we don't want to be on that platform. It was painful. And I said to myself, why would they reject an opportunity to be validated or rated by a Nigerian brand? Because we are typically a Nigerian brand. But if an outsider company somewhere says, write them and say, oh, we want to rate, this is a rating that we did, they will jump at it and make so much noise around it. But they rejected it and we didn't bother. We didn't bother because as far as we are concerned, we are doing our thing. So that's one example of rejection. And there are many like that. I can tell you of the MTN, I can tell you of, But you see, in the middle of that, there are brands like Globalcom, a truly Nigerian brand. The way they embraced the award when they won it was amazing. You will think it's the next day after the award. Everywhere was a go with that celebration. And that's how a brand should celebrate consumers' votes, consumers' feedback. Even Leadway, when they got it, they were excited. Checkers, they were excited. Reload multivitamin, they were excited. But you see, when you have 1, 2 brands that feels that, oh, they are above the water, they don't need such a thing, you just wait. Around the corner, it's the same consumers that they are rejecting that will come to bite them.
Now, let's look at the CVA. What's future? I know you're just planning for the 4th edition, but then you're looking at the future for the awards. What future do you see for the awards? What is your vision for the awards?
Okay, so
not just this year, future.
So basically, CVA is not just an award. It's a stamp of conviction from consumers. It's a badge of honor. So what we are hoping to do in the next edition, and I put by the grace of God, in the next edition, is to do that big consumer national summit. I'm not sure I've heard of the consumer summit in Nigeria. So there's going to be the consumer summit, the consumer show, and the consumer exhibition inside the next edition, which is going to be the 5th edition. And I hope that the FCCPC and all the leaders in consumer conversation in this country will embrace it as a big consumer summit.
As a leader in the PR industry in Nigeria, what's your overview of the industry?
Oh, it's great. It's an evolving industry. Recently, one of us just employed a robot in his office, my friend, Chain Reaction, and I think it's an amazing thing that they are doing. So every one of us is actively trying to evolve ourselves, turn around our business, and the young guys that are coming in, even though they tend to give themselves pockets of names, I won't mention, they're still holistically involved in the public relations business. And it's big and it's going to be bigger.
So what are your final words on the Consumer Value Awards? What should people generally look out for?
I think my final word, which is one of the reasons we are doing this, is that, look, as a consumer, it is your right to be heard. And there is one platform that we have created for you to be heard. And that platform is the Consumers Value Awards.com platform. Visit that platform and cast your vote for just one brand or two. You know, we've also introduced best philanthropic brand in Nigeria. There's the best philanthropic, just to see how people are responding to things. So we have the Dangote Foundation, Tony Lu Foundation. We have the, I think there are 4 different categories. You know, on every category that we have, the minimum is 3. You know, so we have a list of over 200 brands minus government agencies, you know, for all of us as consumers to try and validate their service. And not one person in this country should be left out of it.
Thank you very much. It's been an interesting time having this conversation with you.
Thank you too.
And we wish you all the best as you prepare for the awards in November.